Hello! In today's video, I'm going to show you Blackboard's Retention Center feature. This feature allows instructors to see how their students are doing in the course and to keep an eye on some of the students that may be struggling. To start, log into Blackboard. And select your course from the course list. Once inside the course, you're going to click on Evaluation on your control panel. Underneath Evaluation, you're going to click on Retention Center. The page you see here is your Retention Center. The first thing we're going to look at is this big red bar across the top. This bar indicates the number of students that are at risk. Since there's only one student enrolled in the course, this shows that there's one student, and that one student happens to be at risk. For a further breakdown of what the types of risks are, you can simply click on the bar and it'll change color depending on what sort of risks the student has. For example, this student has a missed deadline risk. Moving down, you can look at the table. The table has the name of every one of your students, followed by different criteria that they could be at risk for. The first one is missed deadlines, meaning that your students have missed a significant number of assignments. Next to that, we have the grades, which means that your students are getting consistently low grades. Next to that, there's an activity alert, meaning that your students are not actively participating in Blackboard. And lastly, you have access alert, which means that your students are not accessing Blackboard at all. In order to tell if your student is at risk, there will be a red dot under the column next to their name for the type of risk they're having. For example, this fake Faculty 2 account says that they are at risk due to their missed deadlines. For more details, simply click on the cell and you'll be able to see a black box that details the type of assignments they've missed. Over here you can see that this fake account has missed one deadline, and you can see what that is by clicking on the blue text beneath it. And it shows exactly what the assignment is and how long it's been late for. For example, the student missed this assignment, so it is 91 days past due. To close out of this, simply click the X's, and to close out of this, you can click X again. Now you have a few options on how to sort of go about using the Retention Center to control the situation. You can click on the student's name, and you'll be brought to their page. Right away, you'll notice that there's an asterisk by their name that says at risk, meaning that this student is at risk. In this case, they've missed the deadline by more than 91 days, as we saw before. Now you have some options on the screen. You can monitor the student. So if you click that, the student's name will appear on a sidebar, which I'll show you in a minute. And you can notify either the student, an observer, which would be more on a high school level if they were using Blackboard. But normally you'll just notify the student in an email. If you click that, a nice email template will come up saying, your activity and performance levels have triggered an alert. Now that's a very generic message. You can either leave it, even though they probably won't even know what that means. So I would suggest typing in a message or something to that effect. And then you can easily send an email, and this way it's a nice simple way to get in touch with the student that is not doing as well in the class as you'd like them to be, and you can therefore offer them assistance. To get out of this page, you can either click Submit to send it, but in my case I'm going to click Cancel since there's no email address attached to that student. Now we're back on the student's page, we've notified them, and now we're monitoring them. You can also attach a note to the student's page to remind yourself that you've contacted them or something to that point. Only you will see these notes, so you can click Add a Note right here, and you'll notice a little text box has appeared beneath it. You can type a message saying, student has been contacted, and then you can click Save, and your little note to yourself has appeared under this Retention Center file. This way you can keep track of how many times you've contacted the student, what the student said, and kind of keep an eye that way as well. To get out of this page, simply click on the words Retention Center on this purple bar up there. Yours might not be purple, but that's the style I chose. And you will be brought back to this table. Now that we've set ourselves to monitor the student's name has now appeared on the right-hand side of the page, and you can see a brief summary of the student's progress rather than having to click on their name. Below the table, you'll see your course activity. So you can see that you have an assignment, you have discussion boards, you have blogs, you have journals, and you can kind of quickly look to see how active your students are in participating and using these assignments, journals, etc. You can also quickly see the announcements you've posted. You can post an announcement on your announcements page from here, and you can see the last content you've created as an instructor as well. The way that Retention Center knows that the students are failing is it goes by criteria that are set under something called rules. Blackboard has default rules, but once again, the default is not always the best for every single course. To change these rules, you simply click on Customize in the upper right-hand corner, and that way you can set the rules as they are best fit for your class. Once again, Blackboard has a few default rules. The default activity rule says that your students will be flagged if their activity in the last week is 20% below course average. The default access is if they have not accessed Blackboard in 5 days, they will also be flagged. The default grade rule is their grade is 25% below class average. And the default missed deadline rule is one deadline has been missed by more than 0 days, meaning that they will be flagged as soon as they miss any deadline. Once again, some of these seem unreasonable, so I'm going to show you how to create your own. To start, click on Create Rule, and a bunch of options will appear. Simply choose the type of rule you'd like to customize. I'm going to make a new missed deadline rule since I find the default one sort of unreasonable. All of these options, once again, work the same. It doesn't matter which one you click. But for now, we're going to look at missed deadline rule. The first thing you're going to do is give it a name. So I'll call it New Missed Deadline. You can call it Missed Deadline for insert course number here. Whatever makes you happy or makes it easier for you. Below that, you have the option to include in the risk table. I would keep that set as yes because you want this rule to show up in the table. Below that, you'll have your rule criteria, which is where you'd actually set up the rule. From here, you can set to monitor the number of deadlines. So let's say they've missed 3 deadlines by more than 3 days, then they will get flagged. So let's say they've missed 3 assignments, and all 3 assignments are 3 days late. They will then get a flag in the Retention Center. The other option is Monitor Specific Deadline. If you click that, you will be able to watch a very specific item. So if your student misses a specific quiz, so let's call it the exam here, and they've missed that exam by more than 2 days, then they will get a flag. So let's say there's a midterm exam, and you want to see who's going to miss that midterm exam. So under course item, you choose midterm exam, and they've missed the midterm exam by more than 0 days. Everyone who's missed the midterm will be flagged in the Retention Center. I'm going to go back to monitor all course deadlines and keep it on the rule we set up before. And once you're satisfied, you can simply click on the purple Submit button. And now we're brought back to the Customize Retention Center screen. From here, you can choose which rules you're going to use and which ones you're going to not use. Since we created a new missed deadline rule, I'm going to show you how to shut off the old missed deadline rule. To do that, hover over the name, click on the gray arrow, and click on Exclude from Risk Table. And this way, our new missed deadline rule will now replace our old missed deadline rule. And when you're done, you're going to click on Retention Center up here once again, and you're going to be brought back to our Retention Center screen. Notice that since we've adjusted the missed deadline rule, the student no longer is at risk. This is because the student has not missed the assignment in the criteria that we've set for the new missed deadline. So that's all I have for Retention Center. Like I said, it's a very useful tool for monitoring students' progress. I especially recommend you use it when teaching an online course. This way you can watch your students, and since you don't see them face-to-face in an online course, it allows you to reach out to them with ease. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to see more like it, and thanks for watching.